Hey y'all, this is Misty, not the good doctor. I wanted to do something a little different today because I've wanted my intros to serve as advice to other voice actors out there. These are things that I've learned along the way, or fun, stupid scenarios that might still help someone. And while I had a topic in mind for my next session, I needed to be honest this week. So, I've mentioned in previous podcasts that I've been feeling not quite motivated to get in the booth and grind out auditions over the past few weeks. It's been due to a combination of things: life stress, work stress, depression, and also what I wanted to talk about today: time management. So, while initially I felt really bad for not auditioning or being productive because there were a lot of things weighing me down, lately, it's just because I've been devoting my time to something else. I know it sounds stupid to those who won't get it, but I really, really love movies, and I took it upon myself to watch one movie a day this month as part of a fun movie scavenger hunt on Letterboxd. And that sounds all well and good, so you might be thinking, how is one movie a day getting in the way of your work? Well, I have a day job that recently changed schedules, so I now get off my shift at 6 p.m., and depending if I decide to do anything before watching the movie for that day, I might start it at 6:30, 7, 8 p.m., and if it's around 2 hours or so, or I have to catch up and pull a double feature because other things get in the way of that, that's a whole day accounted for. Oh, and I stream on Twitch twice a week as well. Why is this important? Why am I talking about movies on a voice acting podcast? Because now I'm feeling disappointed in the fact that I haven't auditioned for anything in almost a month because I've just been, quote-unquote, busy. I still record stuff for a fan dub I'm in and Fiverr projects. And depending on how long that takes, I might not feel up to recording auditions based on how the schedule is looking. And that's where time management comes in. We all want to have these hobbies, hang out with friends, or just take care of ourselves as human beings. And unfortunately, the voice acting industry is one where if you want to get your foot in the door, or even if you're somewhat established, you have to be active. This won't work out if you take sabbaticals and aren't dedicating at least some time frequently to auditioning. And this is apart from the time you have to set aside to commit to projects you've been cast in. And that's why the ideal is to eventually do this full time so you have more of your day to devote to it. But I'm also not saying that particular culture is entirely healthy. Yes, that is what is necessary to be successful in the industry, but doing that all the time is exhausting, mentally especially, which is why this has actually been a little relief. So before getting too excited and wanting to do this because someone said you had a great voice and they could see you doing audiobooks, really know what you're getting yourself into. Because if you're not comfortable with seeing zero results for a while, you have to think, is it the work that I'm putting out? Can it be improved in some way? Or is it me? And in this case, it's totally me. I could put in some audition time if I wanted to. But honestly, I just hate the idea of adding more things to the ticking time clock of my days lately. As it gets darker and darker outside, my brain starts becoming more and more frustrated and putting off some things for tomorrow. And the cycle continues. Now, this is just a stupid little challenge I took on, and I willingly went along with adding an extra commitment to my days. But it's been fun. I won't be doing this every month, but it's been a little healing to just sit back and really enjoy stuff without that self-deprecation in the back of my mind about why I haven't gotten those roles I really wanted. Obviously, I have to get back into the grind, and I will. But this whole experience just motivates me more to search for that golden opportunity. Even if it's not really what people think of as voice acting, I would love to be a narrator for a YouTube channel or a podcast. Just anything having to do with film. It's something I love so much, and I think it would give me more reasons to be passionate about my work. But I haven't found that opportunity yet. Make your own, some people say. The time needed for that is a whole other can of worms. Time. In the end, it's not been my friend. But I hope that there are others that can relate. Sometimes we just take on silly things and the time slips away from us. but you do need to eventually get your head back in the game. And that's what I will do very soon, with some fresh motivation. So just a little status update, disguised as an intro, because, sometimes it's just nice to be honest and speak your mind, so that others don't feel so alone. Cheers.
I just want them on. I just want them on my face.
Ooh, I love that. I'm totally keeping that in. That was my sound check for everybody who's curious. This is what I meant to hit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. There's the intro. Without the technical issues on the side by Misty. Thank you, Misty. Thank you for being very open.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my side of that here in just a minute. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast, a show for voice actors by voice actors. Great intro. I love how candid you are, Misty, on this particular one. That it's not a gag. It's not everything. It's just what you're feeling. I'm a huge fan of those. Not that I dislike the giant productions that Renara or Eldurrino put up. It's just sometimes somebody needs to hear that, and I share pretty much everything what you said, but we'll get to that in just a second. Thanks again, those that are here, those that are live. Hello, Magmorta. Thanks for being here. Everybody else who's watching us from YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcast, thank you so much for being here and tuning us in. Like I mentioned in our communications, our last show had about the most listeners that I've ever seen since we started watching it. So we had 81 people decide to download our show, and we just pretty much talked about a whole bunch of different topics, and it was super nice to see them. So thanks everybody who did decide to tune us in. Feel free to drop a comment. Join us on Discord. If you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about, you can email us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. With all of that out of the way, let's check in with all of our hosts before we get to our lovely guest. So let's check in on Renara, who had some action right before the show started. So how are you, Renara?
Everything was going fine until, I'm not even joking, about an hour before this started, where our oven decided to stop working. So we have no oven to cook any food in at the minute. Then we ended up having to sort of, how do I put this? Grim was cooking downstairs, and we have to fry most of our meat now. And then we just set the fire alarms all off because we're frying frozen stuff because we don't know what to do. So we just had to deal with the whole fire alarms, open all the doors and everything, and just, the whole house smells of smoke right now, so I'm a bit frazzled at the minute. My computer, why I disappeared for a week, my computer, full on, and they're going, oh, fun! I knew what it was. The power supply kind of blew up.
That would do it.
No. So I was like, I need to go to the people who I know can fix this computer that built it. So I went to go see my family very, very quickly to go get that sorted. But now, it turns out, I think the power supply was the main reason for all of my issues. Plus, the BIOS decided to, reset itself, apparently. Okay. So I can now play Baldur's Gate 3 with no crashes. Absolutely fine. Everything is wonderful. And I can actually now edit and actually render not only 4K stuff, because we somehow fixed something with that front, but also anything like a really complex video now. So say for example, you layer like about 7 different fire effects on top of each other. My PC was able to do that originally, apparently. It's just we hadn't set it up properly to do it. So
nice.
Everything should be fine now. We had a horrible debacle where it wasn't registering my microphone 30 minutes before the podcast, which was a real but it's working now. You can hear me. I don't sound like I'm in a tin can.
Yay.
All is fine.
All is fine.
I'm just waiting for the next thing that Loki can throw at me to
I think that's 3. I think you're good. I think that was the 3rd one.
Yeah.
You're all set. So welcome, Renara. Thank you for being here.
I'm back.
Even if the universe doesn't want you to be present at the time. So.
It can try, but I'll still be here when I can be.
All right. Misty, how are you? How was your week? I mean, we heard a lot about it, I know. Other than what you mentioned, how are you doing?
I'm okay. It's just stressing again. It's just a lot of things are coming up, renewals for a lot of things because I've been here for a year, so everything's renewing. Money. I'm just trying to figure out how to get that done. And the good thing is I did do my taxes on time, which is very good. Yay. I eventually folded and I actually had to hire a tax pro with H&R Block to do it because I'm like, I'm not doing this by myself. There's just way too many intricacies with my particular situation that I just need someone to have a second look at it, and it did pay off. So very thankful for that. And I'm just going to wait for that refund to come in, and hopefully that will make things better for this upcoming, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot, but I'll make it.
Well, somehow. I understand how that goes. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you made it, and sorry you're having so many issues. Yeah, tax. I mean, really, we could have considered doing a whole episode on tax time, but the reality is, none of us are experts at it, and it would be a really bad idea to do that. So,
well, I'm English. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. But thank you. So, Eldurrino, how has your week been, my friend?
Kind of all over the place. Work was quiet, which was great, but I also had to take a day off in the middle of the week because I thought I had pink eye, but then it turned out to be an allergic reaction to something, and so it was kind of a weird week. I did want to say though, Misty had posted this week on Twitter about not having done auditions for quite some time, and I have been feeling the exact same way. I have not auditioned. I've been looking, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them certainly weren't something for me. In the ones that I could have done, I just never got around to doing, sadly. So, and as I was saying before the show, I don't know if it's necessarily a funk that I'm in, or if it's lack of motivation or whatnot. I've really been trying to focus more on writing as opposed to performing. So I don't know. I'm using that as an excuse. I really don't have any good reason, but So not really done a whole lot as far as voice acting, minus TikTok stuff, which just for fun, something to do on the weekends and whatnot. Otherwise I don't think there's really anything worth mentioning aside from my addiction to Genshin Impact.
We were talking about that.
I've yet to play that. I have been purposefully avoiding it like the plague because it's too hyped.
Renara, it is a beautiful, beautiful game. I mean, if you like Breath of the Wild, you will like Genshin Impact.
Really?
You didn't like it?
I'm not a massive fan of JRPG type style stuff. No.
How do I remove you from this conversation? Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. No, sorry. That's a hot button issue right there.
I'm sorry.
Okay. But I mean, thank you so much, Eldurrino. Welcome. And yes, if you have an opportunity, please follow Eldurrino. He is a great drifter. He imitates the drifter extremely well, to the point where people are calling you to arms when good scripts come up, which is hilarious because they misspelled your name.
Yeah, I saw you caught that. I meant to thank you for that.
No worries. As far as I go, here I am. This is now 3 weeks past the beard. The goatee is coming in. The wife is happy with it at the moment. I haven't shaved everywhere else, so you see kind of the white shadow that was following me around when we shaved. Voice acting wise, I share Misty's point of view. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, Sheepy, in regards to my motivation, and I talked to my wife about it too, because I have a voices.com account, and I haven't auditioned there in 5 months. And I mean, I've got a steady gig that comes out of the voices.com stuff, and that's my excuse why I haven't done it. But the reality is that I need to get more value out of that, and I need to get myself out of the funk. So Sheepy's advice to me was, look for something that you find fun. Just do that one and see if that sparks the interest again. So that's going to be my goal for next week. And then I have the intro too, and I'm sure I'll figure something out for that, and I'll go from there.
Please do a zombie intro where your beard comes back to life.
I'll leave that for your week.
No,
Oh.
I already have an idea. I already have literally an
Oh,
idea of
man.
how to make Zamoody's beard an entity in the Cold Read universe.
All right. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, yes.
Oh, I feel like it's gonna join the bad guys section.
You've
I'm
done
sorry.
this to yourself, Zamoody.
God damn it.
You discarded me.
Well, we've been ignoring our guests, and I apologize. Meghan McConnell, thank you so much for stopping in.
No worries. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
So I like
I'm
to check in.
currently-
Yeah, and I like to always ask, how has your week been? Because we've just talked about ours. So how is yours?
Yeah.
So it's had some highs and lows. Like, on the one hand, I have gotten to record for some really huge gigs, probably the hugest in my career so far.
Ooh.
But on the other hand, my AC is out, my car's AC is out, my car needs to go into the shop, and I am currently melting, so, because it's 83
Oh,
degrees
no.
where I'm at right now,
Oof.
and that's the only thing that's made me, basically forced me to take a few days off from recording, because I just stick to my chair otherwise.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
No, totally understand. I had a particular gig that was like a 4-hour total recording, which is, I was in there. It was midsummer last year, so I had to do it at like 10 o'clock at night after trying to cool the room down, and even then, I couldn't stand more than 30 minutes inside the booth. So
Yeah.
I feel for you.
Right, yeah, that's definitely been me. And this particular project, I want to say it took me, the project itself, it's about an hour and a half, a little over that long, but of course I had to like make sure it sounded like
Mhm.
as perfect as I could get it. So it took me probably, I'd want to say 8 hours just to make sure that everything sounded perfect, because I'm a perfectionist like that. So
Totally
Yep,
understand.
same. We
Yeah.
all get you on that one.
probably not even really necessary, but it's like, it doesn't hurt, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Megan, how did you get started in voice acting?
So I guess it was a little complicated, because technically I've been voice acting since 2007, but that was like really, really low quality, just like either fan dubs or redubs on my really old YouTube channel, and sometimes it was with a headset mic, sometimes I would just like point the camera to the screen and just dub at that.
Ooh,
So
okay.
I guess, and that channel's obviously not still around anymore, but and then I don't even know if I still have the videos, honestly, but I would be sure to like get them out in the open if I ever want to roast myself one day. And
There
other
you
than
go.
that, other than that, I had been a theater actor for that entire decade. That was like my main source of getting myself auditions in the first place, because I don't exactly live in like LA. I don't live in New York anymore,
Mhm.
so it's been a little difficult. And I told myself I will get into voice acting. I will get serious about it one day. I will dedicate myself to it. But I was like, I didn't know how. And then one of my customers at my job told me about, he actually works for DoorDash, and you could set your own hours there. And I was like, okay, I have to apply for there, and I will dedicate my time to there. So I quit my job, and I ended up door dashing since 2019, and now it's actually gotten to the point where I am starting to make more money in voiceover than I am with DoorDash, but that still allows me again to have the time for it and everything. So
That's
yeah.
pretty nice.
Wow. Okay. I'm assuming that
Future
there was.
goals.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, what we've always been big proponents about. If you can meet your bills, then yeah, go 100% for it. And it's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it was extremely scary for you to make that particular jump, though.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Because of course, when you start into voiceover, you don't really know anybody, and at best, you could probably have like maybe some theater training in like high school and college, like I did. And I did a couple community theater shows, and I actually just got one too for the first time in like 5 years. So I guess I still got it with that regard.
Good.
But once I started actually like looking into resources and looking online, listening back to my auditions, figuring out what I'm doing wrong, then it's like, and of course with the switch to remote recording, like about 6 months after, it was either 6 months or a year after I started doing this, but with that, it was like, okay, this is getting even bigger. And even though I was kind of in the funk that first year, the second year, I was like, okay, no, I have to do this. I have to start taking this a little more seriously. And I've been focusing primarily on paid work ever since then. And it's kind of working. I mean, I still get rejected like 99% of the time, but it's still good to actually, I guess, kind of figure out what I'm doing ish.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
I mean, like we've also mentioned here before, it's just like you've got hundreds and hundreds of people going for this one role. You're going to get rejected, and you're going to get rejected often. And you have to grow a tough skin, because otherwise you beat yourself down and you just don't want to do it anymore.
Right, yeah, because that was like my issue with like when I was in theater, because I don't exactly look like a leading female type even back then, and I was also a bit younger compared to everybody else I was fighting for, so I did take it a little more personally when I was younger, but now it's like I'm just going to take what I learned from that and apply it here and just pretend like it doesn't bother me, even though on the inside I'm thinking, I really wanted that one, but gotta push forward.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Don't put
2019.
yourself down, girl. You can get leading parts. Don't put yourself down.
Yeah, it's like I've actually managed to get some primarily on voiceover, so, and I've only had like
There you
maybe
go.
1 or 2 in live theater, so it's like, okay, as long as people don't see what I look like, I can actually get the leading roles. Yay!
Oh, it's terrible.
It's sad but true.
No, unfortunately. I mean, trust me, I know exactly what you mean. So
If it works, it works.
It really does.
So back in 2019, when you first started, you made the jump from your 9 to 5 to DoorDash into the voiceover stuff. How was your equipment at that point?
Not like perfect, obviously. Like I didn't have all the soundproof boards and even my blanket like you see. But it wasn't the worst either. Like I knew that I couldn't just sound like, flat right terrible, but so I started like way back when I was doing like fan dubs when I was like really young. I had, the headset, then the Blue Yeti. I still kept my Blue Yeti for a little bit, then that crapped out. Then I decided, okay, time to dig out the MXL that I was meaning to use for like song covers, but never got around to that. So I did that. My interface wasn't the best either. So the gain was like, abysmally just abysmal in every way. Like it would just crap out a lot. And then when I listened to myself back, I was like, I was getting, some criticism for like a little bit of reverb, even though it wasn't like super huge. But I was like, okay, I've actually got to like start treating this now. I thought I could get away with it, but apparently not. So I ended up moving it into my closet. And even then I realized that, okay, my clothes aren't going to cover everything. So I ended up buying the rest of my soundproofing equipment. And then over a year ago, I bought my interface and my current mic and this little thing right here. I've had the pop filter pretty much since I started with that. And even then, it hasn't always been perfect. But it's like, you know what gets the job done and prevents all the puffs and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, basically, I just started from like crappy headset, not the best sound treatment, then closet, then another closet because my apartment at the time was just really too noisy and mostly from the traffic. Like it wasn't an issue with the neighbors at all, but I knew I just couldn't record in there. So my mom was generous enough to let me start building a proper closet booth in there. And then I started listening to it. It's like, okay, this sounds better. And now that I've got the treatment for it, but it's like, I don't want it to sound boxy either. So once I started looking for 1-bedroom apartments, found this one. It's relatively quiet most of the time, and started with the help of my stepfather. I started building a kind of like wider space booth so that it would prevent getting that boxy sound, and also just spreading out soundproof boards wherever I can. And that's where I'm at right now. I know I still have room for improvements, but
we all do, I'm sure.
There.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even just looking at your setup, I mean, for those of you that'll be listening on the podcast, there's the sound paneling and the blanket in the back. And we talked about the heat. The heat is obviously the biggest issue because, I mean, right now I've got the AC on. You guys can probably hear it in the background. So totally understand that part.
Yeah, no, and the only reason this is open in the first place is because, again, I'm basically dying right here, even if it doesn't look like it.
You're slowly baking, and I apologize, and thank you for being here.
That's fine. I mean, it's a good way to go, I guess.
It's what you like, absolutely.
Gotta look at positives.
She died doing what she loved.
Oh, yes.
I saw Misty kind of do a little happy wiggle there when you mentioned the closet recording, so...
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuck in my closet for now too.
Oh yeah, and then it's like even then at my new apartment, I'd want to say like maybe 2 or 3 closets that I can go into, but I was like, and I could figure out it might even sound better in there, but it's like, no, I'm not doing that. I want to actually have space to like move my arms in case I want to be like dramatic and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, I'd say I'm digging this so far.
It looks great. It looks great from this point of view. So awesome work. So again, going back to 2019, we figured out the equipment. Did you start practicing on certain sites, or did you just jump straight in? How did you start there?
So even then, when I was like working, at the 9 to 5s and stuff before that, like whenever I would get alone time, I would just practice and do stuff like that. And then once I actually got in there, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take like a week off to actually spend my my money that I saved up to just have fun. And so I did that first week, and then after that, I was like, okay, let's start getting into this and see what the process is like really like. And I started getting on a casting call club and voice acting club because I was referred to that, and I also saw like a few auditions on Twitter around, and I got my first paid gig, I'd say 3rd audition, but it was for a comic dub, so it wasn't like super high paying. But I was like, wow, I got
Casting call club, voice acting. I'm assuming the Discord group or the website.
Yeah, I did the website first because that's how I found out a lot about my resources, and then I found out about the Discord. I want to say like a few months later. And then I started actually, like, it seems like recently I've been getting most of my gigs from, like, there in particular. So it's like, now I'm super glad that I joined this because I probably wouldn't have gotten, like, half the stuff I've been in now if it wasn't for them. So
right. Nice. Have you at all explored the Twitter side of voice acting? How is that going, if you've tried it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I did find a few auditions, like even before I really started doing this. But again, I didn't have the equipment at the time, and I was really intimidated because I thought, oh, everybody and their mom's going to be auditioning for this, so there's no way in hell that I'm going to have a shot. And then sure enough, it was like I said, the past year, I was like, okay, screw it. I got to start going for it, and I got to really start putting myself out there. And now that I actually have a couple demo reels, I'm able to just mark that. It's really easy to send and forget that way, at least. So,
right. It's funny because we were just about to look at your demo reel while we were offline. So,
oh, were you?
Are you okay with us doing that? Or sorry.
I mean, if you want to, go ahead.
Let's give it a shot. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here for those of you that can.
Okay, I can at least hear her now, but I can't see her still.
Oh,
Misty.
No, we're here. You're fine, Misty. So you go ahead and turn my stream off if you can. So, let's go ahead and listen in here in 3, 2, 1.
The people I love most left me to die.
Volume's low.
Don't say I should go with you. Because if family screw you over out here, trust means nothing anymore. Such magnificent strikes, each more sublime than the last. I have high hopes for you yet. Now, who's next? I'm only just getting started. If this is reaching someone, they were real. Look, you need to tell someone, anyone, about this. If these things keep breeding, who knows what they'll... God. No. Wretch! You may have rendered my wings useless, but you will never escape my unrelenting desire to see you perish, drown in the depths of despair! Fractured wrist, trauma to the back of the head. Nothing about this was clean. I'm off to pay a visit to the victim's ball. I'd say the staff have some explaining to do, don't you? Listen up! To pass this class, all you've got to do is collect 30 pretty soul gems. The course has lots of twists and turns, so watch yourself. Oh, and if you beat the record time, I'll throw in a little treat for you.
Okay, that's it.
I actually couldn't hear any of that, but
sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, as we were coming through. So, comments on my side only because I've always been very curious. The mastering of the audio volume was very low at the beginning, and then it kind of peaked on your third one. I would
Which one were
definitely.
you listening to?
That was the one that you put up on Twitter.
I think it's your pinned one.
Yeah, the pinned one, I think.
It was placed
Sorry,
October 29th, 2021.
Okay, yeah, so that was my video game reel.
So, yeah, demo video game. Yes. Visual novel as well. So, at the beginning, I thought it was a sound problem on my side. I was like, oh crap, what do I turn up? So,
Right.
all in all, I would just say if you have an opportunity, there was 2 of them that had the music was overpowering your voice. That was the very passionate barbarianist one. And there was another one that escapes me at the moment. That would be only comments I would say. Otherwise, excellent work.
Oh yeah, actually I didn't do the editing myself, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Something to consider.
again, I wouldn't consider myself the best at audio editing either, but I recorded that at probably one of the only local studios that I can record at in my area, but he's done more of like music than voiceover editing, but it's like I figured it was better than just doing it myself.
Yeah.
And I'd say that I still at least got my money's worth, but like next time when I go in to do my commercial reel, I will keep that in mind. And again, I know you have to update them like every few years or so
Yeah.
I will definitely keep that in mind.
I would just like to say, as the English woman in the room, your English accent is not too bad. I'll say that. And I'm a sucker for fantasy, and I absolutely loved the big fantasy one, just because yes, that's just my shtick. I think that's the other one you're referring to, Zamoody, because I think that was the music you put that with that one overpowered you again. I think there are definitely a few in there that. How do I put this? I think literally for these small pieces, the bits and pieces that I think would elevate it to the next point, because as far as I'm concerned, I think all of them are pretty good. A few of them do sound a little samey, and I think, but what you did do was that you cut in the English ones and made sure there was an American one either side, so that we could hear the difference. But I think when you've got your end one, which was the detective, I think something like that, I felt that was very similar to one you'd already done at the beginning. So I would say maybe I don't know what else to add to that, but it just felt you could put a different accent on with that, or do something, just a tiny little bit of flavour to it to make it more different. And I think the last thing, because I will always say it, I think things that have a scene, if you can add bits and like sound effects, Foley, footsteps, things like that to bring that scene to life, not rely on it, but it helps the listener to delve into just that small little section. So if you are doing scenes in a video game, this is your video game reel, having those extra little pieces in there, I think would bump it up to like the next thing. But that's just me.
If you don't mind
I get that.
me playing this.
Rambles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it happens that they have a shut up now.
I have to apologize, Meg. We don't normally do this. We usually don't go over someone's reel unless like it's towards the end of the episode. So apologies for the random break in the interview, and then
It wasn't that technical issues happened or anything to that effect. But that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no.
So as far as my feedback goes, I thought okay, well, to start with, Zamoody is right. The whole sound balancing thing, obviously that's not your fault, since you didn't do the mixing and the mastering. But yeah, music far too loud. They could even, like, I noticed that Zamoody had the video volume all the way up. They could even mix it higher. If they're mixing based on like musical experience, generally they mix that down a bit to like between -6 and -3 decibels. Whereas with voice acting, you can usually fit between 0 and -3. So obviously, again, I know that's not your fault since you didn't do that portion, but I don't know. If you work with this person a lot, then perhaps mention that it just needs to be mixed a little bit louder for more, or just sending it around or whatnot. That way people don't have to struggle, I guess, or push your earbuds in to hear it. And then as far as the performances went, I thought that they were all fine. I have nothing really like critical to say about that, except for I I would have personally liked to see at least one or maybe two, just more energy. I felt like a lot of them were very reserved, which is fine. Like having a more reserved role is something that is necessary. But I think to really kind of add some variance to it, having a more excited, like energetic voice, something like that would be encouraged. I don't know if that's like your shtick or something that you feel comfortable doing. Again, this is all just personal opinion. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, because I got the script commission too as well, so
okay.
I went off with that, and I was like, okay, I'm digging this here. So
did
That's
you? So I was looking at it and I saw that there was someone who wrote the script for you as well as did your mixing and mastering. Did you have a director during the recording session?
actually, no, I did not. So that might have been where I guess I fell a little flat. So maybe
Oh,
I should.
no.
I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was on your part necessarily. Like having a director at least talk you through it, it just helps. Like, because they can offer insight as to different ways that you can perform a line or a paragraph or whatnot. So I don't know if that's an option at the studio that you do, but if it's not too much more, I would say give it a shot because it can really help. Like. Aid your final product just because they can, I don't know, they're usually better about listening for things as opposed to like our side where we're better about doing the performance.
Well, Misty, any closing thoughts before we move on?
Just really building on what Dorino said, that it would help with different sort of energy levels because it's also something that Ren said. Since some of the characters may sound a little similar, so it doesn't matter to me personally whether you don't have like the largest range. Like maybe you can't go like super completely different with a lot of characters, but if that is the case where most of the characters you do are pretty much within your natural tone or range, the energy levels do help. That way it distinguishes it a bit better. It's better than just saying the scientist, the detective, just assigning the different characters. It's more that someone can tell the difference between more than just the scenario, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They are still really good performances.
They were, absolutely, 100%.
Oh, we were nice and that you're not scared of us.
Well, I mean, and keep in mind, we say this, take us with a grain of salt. This is just completely our opinions. And so
it's what we do.
So leading into the voiceover demo, was it at the very start that you decided to do this, or did you wait till you were already ongoing for a little bit?
No, I waited about a year till after then because it was like I saw so many auditions going around that I couldn't audition for because I didn't have anything. And like I said, I didn't want to just do everything completely on my own because some people, I guess, frown upon that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make sure that I had some help. But I was like, okay, where am I going to get help around here? And then I found out about the studio and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going in. So
apologies.
Like
I also live by a busy street, so sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I used to live by the busy street as well, so yeah. I definitely know what you're talking about.
So when you just, because you got your script written for you, did you get online? Did you go Twitter? Did you do Fiverr? How did you do that one?
Yeah, I went on Twitter because I personally avoid Fiverr like the plague. Although I did actually use it for my commercial script that I got commissioned, but that was it because I figured that was they actually reached out to me about that, and I was like, okay, but I mean, I'm gonna create a Fiverr account, but I'm just gonna use a pseudonym so that nobody recognizes me because I don't want people to think that I'm, I guess, kind of lowering my standards a little bit because I've always told people that I feel personally that Fiverr kind of takes advantage, like not everybody, but I feel like some people on Fiverr kind of take advantage of people in a way, and I just wanted to avoid any situations like that, you know?
You're not wrong. I mean, I know I felt like I had an experience like that. Initially, when I first started, I did have a Fiverr account, and I had one individual that pretty much roasted me up the wall, messed with me, and we ended up just giving up on the gig and mutually withdrew, but Fiverr still penalized me for that not completed one. I said, that's it. I'm not even going to worry about you anymore. So I know Misty's very experienced when it comes to the Fiverr stuff, and I mean, if it works for you, it's awesome.
Right now in particular, I'm having a client that it's not that client. It's like one of those people that they get in contact with me, but they're like they have a client of their own. So
Mhm.
it's like
Oh,
like
they're
a
the
liaison.
middleman.
the person that's the higher up basically is the one that's being really picky, and they're changing things after the fact, like the script and things like that. And the dude feels super bad. He's like, I'm so sorry. I keep coming back to you for this stuff. And then there was one where it wasn't even like proper English, the change that they wanted to make. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Mhm.
Okay, if they're completely sure, I'll do it this way and hope that they won't say, oh, that's wrong again. That's it.
Yeah, for me it's Grand Prix. So sorry, J Show Clips, if you're out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He wanted me to read it as Grand Prix. But no, okay. So in it's all understand. We all form our particular opinions. Do you have an opinion when it comes to like Voices.com or Voices123?
So, I mean, I do have accounts for them. I can't say that I've used them too much. Well, Voices.com, I feel like, I feel like I need to have a commercial reel and actually submit it on certain, like in particular, pay-to-play websites, because it seems like most of them are commercial-based from what I've heard. I could be wrong. But then Voices123, I've gotten a few in my emails. The last few in particular, I was like, okay, these are like really, really weird. Where are you people coming from? It's like, so I've had to like reject quite a few of them, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't care how much you're paying me. I just personally can't do this. So
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm desperate for roles, but not that desperate, you know?
Good
But other
that you
than
have
that-
laurels.
Right, yeah. But other than that, like I said, I'm going to try to see if I can get into some pay-to-plays a little more, even if I don't do it super often, just to say that I at least tried. But again, I want to wait till I get my commercial reel out first, so that way I have some specs to use. And I've only auditioned for, I think, 2 commercials, and they were going like really, really up there. So I was like, okay, I don't want to mess around with that. I have to get this reel done like as soon as possible. But
Yeah. Yeah, there's
So,
some
yeah.
national stuff on there, and that goes for, you know, when you actually see that it goes for like 12-week period, and then even say it's like Midwest or Southwest. It's really interesting. It's intimidating, but yeah, it can be a ton of fun.
oh yeah, because I
was-
auditioned for one that like I guess it aired a year ago on national TV, and I was like, that would have been so cool if I got in that, and I'm kicking myself for that one. It was like, everybody would have heard me all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I will certainly say, because Zamoody and I both have a Voices.com account. Yeah. a
Renara does
commercial
too,
reel-
by the way.
One too,
Oh
you know?
yes.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you haven't mentioned
They
it since you
forget
got
me.
it. so-
I'm always forgotten. I'm joking.
Well.
I'm joking. Continue.
I mean, if you said it. No, I was going to say a commercial reel isn't necessary, I would say, for it, for signing up for that, or if you want to do the paid subscription. It helps, obviously, because it's more supplemental to your auditions. But for the most part, most of the auditions there, I will say, ask you to read lines just like a normal audition. So don't let the fact that you don't have a commercial reel yet dissuade you. I don't have one personally, again, but I have not used my Voices.com account in a number of months, similar to Zamoody. But again, yeah, I wouldn't let that dissuade you. If anything, like if you have the means to pay for the subscription and you have the time, go for it, because I think time is probably more important than anything, because you really gotta be right on those auditions and get them done sooner than later.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely have the time, that's for sure.
Well, there you go.
So keeping in mind, because your email will explode as soon as you sign up and you get a paid account, you get 30 to 40 emails. But by the for like me and Eldurrino, we work 9 to 5s. By the time we get to the actual auditions
And
itself, and Renara, you know, 60% of them are gone.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
They'll be taken because they do quick decisions, they do quick turnaround. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, you're dedicating yourself, and I'm 100% not only impressed. I mean, it's extremely it's crazy. It's jump into it. So
It's a level I think we all aspire
Absolutely,
for, to be
yeah.
fair.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
I'm doing something right, so
yeah, so far.
Well, no,
Go ahead.
I was just going to add, at least from my own experience, I think you'll probably find more so. Well, at least because Voices.com is an American pay-to-play website, there is a lot of people in America that understand. Basically, I've run into the issue of the Americans want what they think is British, if that makes sense. So I've got that weird thing of, but for the boys have had major success on it already, so I would say go for it, try it. At the very least, if you're not happy with it, you can cancel the subscription. Just give it a go. I'd say.
Correction, Zamoody has had success. I have not.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm picking you up, guys. Come on.
We're all correcting each other. Oh my god.
I know.
I wish. I have to be honest. I have not been successful there so far. But then again, that's due to my own laziness.
And as I've mentioned before, it took me like 8 months before I got like my first gig on Voices.com, and then once you get your first star, things start rolling in a little bit more. So. Don't give up, either of you two, please. Go ahead and... But that's the thing. You got to put yourself out there. You got to try it. So, something to consider. So, back to Meghan, please.
I'm just going to drop Brush in the corner now.
Dang it. So far, what's been your favorite role?
Well, of course, I can't say every role that I've been cast for recently, but I've done... Mostly, it seems like mostly video games lately that have been on Steam.
Nice.
Let's see. So I did this fighting game, this indie fighting game that it's kind of blowing up a little bit. It was already like in development, just needed like the voices and stuff. And I found that through the Voice Acting Club server. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition. She was like this badass elderly librarian type. And I was like, okay, and I got it. I was like, what? And I was like, now I get to actually like do like fights and kicks and noises like that and use like this badass senior citizen voice. It was like, okay, but the game is called
please.
The game is called the game is called Merfight. It's on Steam. I voice Angelique. And I just had so much fun. Like, actually, they said in particular, there's this one wind pose I do where I'm just like pretending to fall asleep and then just wake back up. And they said they liked that in particular in my audition. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bring that kind of energy. And yeah, and then the game came out with the patch the day before my birthday too. So I was like, okay, that's even better. So
this is still fairly recent. We're talking birthday this year.
Yeah, this was my birthday this year, actually. Nice. I recorded the lines a few months ago. I actually got the role on New Year's Eve, so I was like, well, I'm getting tipsy tonight, so that's a good way to go out.
Hell yeah.
Never thought I would hear the word badass and librarian or senior citizen in the same sentence.
I know, but somehow it works. You just gotta see it to believe it.
I wrote it down. I'm gonna have to take a peek at this. How about what's the role that got away so far?
I'm trying to... Okay, so there were a couple ADR ones that I auditioned for last year, and I thought, this would be so cool. This will take everything that I learned from just doing silly fan dubs as a kid, and I could actually apply it and get paid for it, and I didn't get either of them, and those kind of blew up too, so I was like,
darn.
Oh, I'm so close, but... Every cloud is silver lining. Like I said, I just recorded an ADR thing not too long ago, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Can't quite say what it is yet,
of
but
course.
It'll definitely show up.
Don't get yourself in trouble over us, please. But we look forward to hearing it and stuff for sure.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah. One of the because we're gonna have to start winding down here soon. But one of the questions I tend to like to ask, if you were to be able to go back and see yourself when you were first starting this journey, what advice would you give yourself?
Okay, so this is probably going to be like super generic, but I'm going to be like, just don't stop trying. For God's sake, just don't ever stop trying. I mean, I know it seems like you're not really getting anywhere with this, and I know it's going to be really difficult at first and a lot harder than you even realize. Like, you have a lot more learning to do, and you just gotta practice, you just gotta learn, you just gotta really fight for it and dedicate yourself to it. Otherwise, it's just gonna slip away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Would that same advice be one that you would post to somebody who's asking, hey, what can you tell me about voice acting?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I think, of course, one thing I forgot to mention is that, like, when you're starting off, it's like, I know I said sometimes I take myself too seriously with this and I dedicate myself a lot, but at the same time, like, just have fun with it, because if you're not having fun with it, then it's like, what's the point, really, I guess.
Yeah.
It quoted me, like, literally. That was...
What did I?
Oh, well, don't worry. You'll find out in a minute.
Oh, no.
No, it's okay.
No,
Quite all right. This is a good thing. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
So I'm about to ask my co-hosts if they have any questions. So I'm prefacing that, and I'm also going to ask you if you have any questions that you want us to answer. So before I get to you, Megan, co-hosts, any questions for our guests today?
I have one.
Yes, please, Renara.
Okay, so it might be a bit of a big one.
It's fine. Love it.
Through your voice acting journey, from literal headset mic, I started with a headset mic as well. I understand those struggles. What would you say, one, was the biggest strength you have learnt and improved as you've gone through this journey? And secondly, what would you say is still that niggling weakness? Well, not weakness, niggling part that you think could, if you want to, like that sort of, like, how do I put it? Well, weakness, I guess.
Like
is
something
the
you
other
need to
term.
improve.
Yeah, that's the word. I can't think of the words today. So yeah, what's the biggest strength you have improved on as you go through, and what's the little niggly bit that you think you could improve on still?
Right. So I think just, like, going back and listening to myself, that had me figure out kind of what I was doing wrong. And even then, not everybody, I guess, provided me with feedback. Some people just said, like, oh, the take was perfect. And I was like, sometimes I second guess myself a lot, but it's like, I also learned from that in a way. So I just took what I knew there. I just applied all the positives and negatives and really started taking it more seriously. So I think my biggest strength is that I definitely learn, and on top of that, I actually do take direction pretty well. Like, I think usually whenever I'm going back and having to redo a line, I'm usually able to get it right away. Like, I'm able to understand, like, certain contexts of scenes when it's actually applied there. But then my biggest weakness is that, again, I feel like sometimes I'm just too much a perfectionist, and I just go back and listen to myself, and I was like, do I really have to do that again? Sometimes I don't want to. After just recording this huge, really long line, I thought I had it down, then I listened to myself back, and I was like, oh no, why does it sound like that? And sometimes I just, sometimes I guess I just go through and spend more time editing than I should, but then again, I just really don't want the audio to sound bad, because I feel like if I make one mistake, then everyone's just gonna roast me online for it, that sort of thing. And I don't want that anymore. Not anymore.
Anymore? So that's happened before?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few projects. I'm not sure if it was, like, the file getting corrupted or if they weren't, like, the best sound editors, but, like, for some fan projects I was in, like, a long time ago, and even, like, kind of starting back into this, they were like, oh, her mic sounds terrible, and I was like, wait, really? Like, I was listening back to it, and I was like, oh, okay, I do see where some improvements are made, but I don't remember it sounding, like, this bad when I went to record it. Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes no. It's like, I was like, okay, no, I need to get new equipment, basically.
No.
So that's kind of in a way what led up to me getting the equipment in a way in the first place. And again, just me trying to be, like, super duper perfectionist 99% of the time. So
Sure.
Yeah. I know some of us are still very focused on some bad internet comments that we've received in the past, right? Eldurrino?
No.
No, not at all.
I don't know I don't have a single clue as to what you're talking about.
No Linktree comment, no nothing. Okay, fair enough. Other hosts, Misty or Eldurrino, any questions?
Misty.
No particular question that I can think of right now.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I have two questions. One, how was that all-nighter?
I saw the tweet too.
Oh yeah, so that was for the ADR project that I was recording for. I had a few other things I need to take care of in the day, but ADR project's, like, super tight with turnarounds, and I was like, and again, I live with my boyfriend, and I have to make sure that, like, he turns the TV down and whatnot, and just does his games through his headset when I have to record, and I was like, okay, no noise? Good. And again, it took me, like, 8 hours just to get everything done. I was like, I'm going to cram it all in tonight because I really don't want to have to do this tomorrow. I want to have fun tomorrow. It's going to be super hot tomorrow. I just want to get this over with, and I have to do any redos, then I just go back and do it. But I actually looked at the email that I got just before I got here. Turns out, I could be wrong. All I need to do is just send in a file that I actually got done but missed. I forgot to send that part in. I was like, oh, I'm so stupid. But I was like, okay, I got to get it done pretty much. Like, I got to just actually send it in, and hopefully that works for them. And again, I stayed out till like 4 a.m. I'd want to say, and I was like, okay, going to bed. I haven't stayed up this late since like before the pandemic, so I was like, okay, going to bed now. If I suck, I suck, but not really. And again, I want to make sure that everything sounded perfect, like no background noise, no puffs, no clicks, stuff like that. But not overdo it, since I assume they have like audio editors and stuff on board, since this sounds like a pretty big project. So hopefully we'll see.
Yeah. My next question is, what is your favorite pizza topping?
Every time.
Every time.
Okay, so I mean, okay, so I do have several favorites. My absolute favorite is like super generic. It's pepperoni, but for the record, I hope I don't get canceled for this or anything, but pineapple does belong on pizza.
Yeah! Thank you.
Just my thing.
I'm in the minority here.
No, I agree with it.
Okay.
I could argue someone to death about why pineapple deserves to be on pizza.
Thank you.
Ew!
You take
Fight
that back.
nasty.
I'm gonna stay quiet in the corner.
It's okay. We forgot about you already.
I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Is that going to be the title of this episode? We forgot about Renara.
Fine. It just so happens that the episode that I wasn't here was the one that got the most downloads. I'm not.
Oh, you're fine. Oh my gosh. All right. Megan, do you have any question for this dysfunctional group that's currently interviewing you?
We are the dysfunctional family. We apologize. I'm sorry.
So actually, yeah, like, I'm not sure if maybe you already posted a video on this, but like, how did this podcast like get started? I guess would be my question.
Zamoody, go for it.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I've been talking this whole time. You guys feel free.
I will attempt. Okay, how about this? I'll do a Ren Ramble special for a minute, and everyone jumps in over the inaccuracies that I've forgotten.
Sure.
We meaning me and Zamoody, and I think Eldurrino, we all got cast in a same project together by a Matman, Miskatonic Memorialist. There we are. He does a lot of YouTube stuff, and we all just ended up being in the same project on his channel. And then from my perspective, we did that, and I left some reviews of everyone, because I thought, well, it's nice to receive positive reviews on your work, and I liked what everyone else did. It sounded amazing, so I went and gave everyone a positive review. And then, like, about a month later, I get a message from Zamoody going, hey, I'm making this podcast about like voice acting. Would you be interested? And I, having had no experience on Twitch or podcast or whatever, just went, I feel like this is fate chucking something at me currently, so I'm just going to say yes and see what the heck happens. And here
2 years later, almost, yeah.
Yep.
Anything
I missed, boys?
So here's we did all participate with Matman, but it was just you and I initially. I knew Eldurrino from Twitch Sings, which was an application mostly from a long time ago, where Twitch singers could literally karaoke with each other. So. And then that's where I got a lot of this equipment, and we decided to go from there. Eldurrino came up with the name for the podcast. And then we brought in another person from Twitch, which was Princess Pashley, who stayed with us for a while. So that was the evolution pretty much of this. And it's ballooned. It's been it's very therapeutic for me to be able to sit here and talk about all these things, because it does weigh a lot on the mind. So I've always been super happy about being able to sit down once a week and kind of remind myself to keep going. And this is why I like when Renara gives her motivational speech.
I don't know if I need to.
Seriously. No, I 100% agree. I think this, aside from just trying to better educate the voice acting community as a whole, this is like our safe zone. This is where we can talk about, acting or performing or whatnot, whatever we have to say. And we get to bounce ideas off of each other. And that's why I really like this show so much, is because we all get along really well. We're all able to be constructive with each other, and nobody takes offense to it, minus Renara, because apparently we forget about her, and I'm so sorry.
It's not like the whole first season we told her to use the wrong audio source, or we didn't tell her she was using the wrong audio source.
Oh my god! I'm not even going to go into that. These boys.
I also kind of forgot about me because it's like I joined later, but
Yes.
that doesn't really matter.
No, of course it matters. Of course it matters.
I'm joking.
So that's the story of Cold Read, Megan. Thank you for asking. I absolutely appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sorry, it's so chaotic.
So, team, any final thoughts for our guest before we go?
Nothing I can say. It sounds like you're doing very
Go ahead.
well. So.
Absolutely.
I think you are a little hard on yourself, my dear, because I think you are an absolutely wonderful voice actor, however you want to put it. And we, as in the collective, all of us, I think all share very similar mindsets to exactly what you have said, like in your attitude towards it. You are going to be fabulous, my love. Don't ever put yourself down, okay? And I understand the perfectionist part. Trust me. So
I think we all do.
I think, all of us do. So from somebody who has also spent all-nighters on both film and voice acting, I think there comes a time where you just have to go, I'm going to send this, and whatever happens, happens. And just go, right, that's it, I'm going to send it out. And then if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Don't sacrifice your health in the pursuit of perfection. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, no.
And that includes mental health, too.
I mean, on the bright side, it sounded like they liked everything else so far, except for the thing that I literally just forgot to do because I was so tired. And I was like, okay, at least I have the file still. I just got to send it. My bad. Sorry.
That's I don't know.
Well, Megan, thanks so much for giving us an opportunity. Thank you for donating an hour of your day to sit down and talk to us. We absolutely appreciate it. Hopefully, hopefully you're not baking too much in there.
Could be worse, I guess, but also not good.
Well, thank you so much. Guys, if for those of you that are here, thank you again for those that were present live. This will be edited down. You guys are going to get it in YouTube 1 o'clock tomorrow, and anywhere where you can listen to podcasts, just look up Cold Read the Podcast. And if you have any questions, any ideas for topics, anything you want us to talk about, or even if you want to submit your demo reels or a piece of audio, we'd love to listen to it. ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. We have a Discord available if you want to join us, if you want to ask a question for us or anybody in our extensive network. We have actors, we have sound producers, we have a lot of people we can reach out, and they will give us their particular feedback when it comes to any question that you might have. So please feel free to contact us. Don't be afraid of us. We are here to help. We've critiqued each other. We've critiqued our guests. Thank you again for that opportunity, Megan. Hopefully that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, sure.
No.
I believe the intro. No, sorry. The intro is going to fall on me for next week. I have a couple ideas. I don't think I have time to reach out, so we'll see what happens. But thank you again, everybody. And I will leave it again. I know, Renara, you've already kind of gone through it, so I'm going to give it to you one last time.
Okay, well, the thing is, I think Meg has actually said most of my points, but I will reiterate them in the Ren Rambles special. So, 1, do not give up, guys. This is a long process. We have to take it step by step. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. Learn to rest. If you feel burnt out, learn to rest, but do not come off that path. You keep going, because there is so much out there. 2, enjoy yourself. Like she said, enjoy what you're doing, because if you're not enjoying it, then what is the point? Quite literally, you said it verbatim. That is what I say, Megan, half the time. It's wonderful. That's you. I'm happy that someone else said it as well.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's great.
Right, yeah.
And I think lastly, don't give up hope. And I think even no matter where you are on this path, we're all traveling it together at different points. We're here to help. We will give extra, help. Can't word it properly today. Shit. I think overall, just be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and keep following your dreams one step at a time, and never give up.
That's the show, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Drink water.
There it is.